Hello guys, my name is NaToSaphiX. Today we have another video. This time it is yet another one for play.gg. This time we'll be taking a look at why G2 is having difficulties, what difficulties they're facing, and potentially how they can fix it. In round number 9, G2 are doing what's called playing in the dark. They are playing 3 guys towards B, which they were by the way in the entire CT half, and they have very little mid control and very little mid info. The only guy really getting mid info is Hunter, who is just watching the cross so that they don't get flanked. But then this happens. At this moment, the closest rotation to Jax is miles away, and he has to come up with a multi-kill to have any chance of the round. Due to the limited info that G2 had in this round, Yuri is able to lurk on the other side of the map and takes down Alexi B. This leaves Monsi in a sort of one-on-one against drop, which he wins. Instead of instantly defusing the bomb, Monsi can't quite find it, and this gives Yuri a chance back in the round. Luckily for G2, Nico wins the one-on-one and the round. In the next round, G2 again have very limited mid info, and Art actually manages to find a gap. If Art just takes his timing straight up here, he wins the round. Eventually, G2 decide they want to fight for mid, and they decide to retake it with 3 guys. Notice that how after Jax and Nico get 1 kill, they both keep peeking, in what is a 4-on-3 at that moment. G2 go on to lose this round. A few rounds later, G2 are fighting heavy for mid control, and utility wise they completely demolish Furia here, who are very low on HP. Jax gets stuck over in the sort of jungle area, and Hunter creeps up next to this smoke. For some reason he decides to just sit in it, Jax is fighting really heavy, and they just both go down with no kills to even talk about. G2 go on to lose this round. In the second pistol round of the map, G2 managed to actually take a lot of space, and the utility allow them to take even further. Unfortunately, not everyone on G2 is on the same page here. Monsi is trying to fight for long control completely alone while Nico is holding the back. And when Nico tries to trade Monsi, he also goes down. That leaves Alexi B and Jax in a very uncomfortable and almost unwinnable position where they have very limited afterplan spots to actually play from. G2 surprisingly go on to win the second round force buy, leaving them in an 11-6 scoreline, where they now have the weapon and utility advantage. Unfortunately for G2, Art slips the net, and actually on this flash pushes through to T-spawn. To add insult to injury, Keserato finds a 1-deke onto Nico. What was a force buy 5-on-3 versus a CZ and 2 Deagles turns into this. G2 will go on to lose this game, their last game at the major 11-16, not winning a single round after this mistake. There were a few key rounds decided on marginals here towards the later stages of this game. This one, for example, where G2 are on a sort of half buy, Alexi B takes down drop and takes a world of space towards the B bomb site. Now a 3 versus 4, and they will do everything in their power to win it. What could have been a great bait and switch here between Jax and Alexi B unfortunately ends with 0 kills for the latter and only a single for the former. The last mistake here on Ancient is the quick switching. I never realized he actually did it twice. A big issue that I saw in general for G2 was their man advantage situations. I get why Monsi swings wide here in the 3 versus 2, it's to set up Alexi B, who is now in a very unexpected position. But with the way the round pans out, I just feel like there might have been more possibilities and better decisions that could have been made in this particular round. And this was actually a repeating worrying sign in their man advantage situations. In this 4 vs 2, G2 played extremely passively, where Jax just holds an angle onto Bit and loses the duel. Then Monsi gets taken out, and this 4-on-2, which should be almost unwinnable for Na'Vi, immediately turns into a 2-on-2. Bit had the potential of taking the bomb with him in connector, and then this round might have been possible, but with him not having the bomb and Hunter being hot on his heels, he's unfortunately not gonna get more done. It leaves Perfecto in a 1 vs 2 that G2 will eventually win, but these static 4 vs 2s, 5 vs 3s, in the demos I've watched, they ended up costing G2 a lot of manpower and a lot of economy. Another great example of just that is this round, round 20 against Na'Vi, where G2 are going to be blessed with 2 opening kills. And just like before, G2 are going to be keeping the sort of same static defense that we saw against Furia on Ancient, that even if they get multiple opening kills, they're gonna sit just passive on one side of the map with 3 guys, never updating info mid, never really pushing for info on A or rotating guys over towards the B bomb side. And this round is a perfect example of why they can come back to bite you. Here we see Boomich navigating up short, no one has info on him, and even in this 3-on-5, Na'Vi are actually going to be able to pick up the round. He's gonna get a complete freebie onto Alexi B, and since Hunter had this duel in window earlier, he's too low on HP to go in and actually contest this. It leaves G2 in a 4 vs 3 retake on the B bomb side of Mirage, with one player having only basically 1 HP. And that's just very rarely a winnable position. So even though G2 actually pick up 2 great opening kills, they can't convert off of it. This is one of the biggest issues that I see for G2 in the 3 demos that I've watched. Oftentimes they're going to be picking up an opening kill or even a double man advantage, and they're going to fail to convert because they're playing so static. Now if this was Heroic, who are known for having a very dynamic CT side, I understand leaving gaps. Sometimes you overstack or push on the wrong timing, but leaving so many gaps while also having a static defense is just not going to get you many rounds. Static versus dynamic CT side is basically all about how active the CTs are in the mid round. This round is a great example of a dynamic CT round for G2. This is a 4 vs 5, almost full eco for G2, where Jaxi pushes down slope and gets info on 1 player, but then also hears one molotoving out A-apps, knowing now that there are 2 A players. He then tries to take down a player in mid and succeeds onto Boomich, who then gets traded by Bit. But then Hunter repushes short and takes down Bit, and now all of a sudden it's a 3 vs 3 situation. G2 have so much individual brilliance that they really thrive in these sort of chaotic mid rounds, and I wonder why they don't do it more often. In this round, for example, Monsi's gonna spam the smoke a bunch, and then Perfecto, thinking that now he can go stairs without anyone expecting him here, gets punished for it as Monsi just straight up wallbangs him. This creates some space for Alexi B to take this perfect flank onto Electronic and kills him in the back, where he in turn kills Simple planning the bomb. This is a 4 vs 5, basically full eco that G2 win, just off of dynamic CT sides. Another thing that I saw a lot in these 3 demos that I feel happens way more to G2 than almost any other team on the planet is how many gaps that the opponents find in the G2 defense. Sometimes it's when G2 is on their CT side, and sometimes, like the art round we saw earlier on Ancient, it's when G2 is on their T side. In this round, Nico is going to very clearly hear Bit jump up into the window, but somehow doesn't think anything of it or completely misses the sound cue, not quite sure. In the meantime, Boomich is going to take down Hunter on the B bomb side, and he gets traded by Alexi B. But at this point in the round, it's already said and done. Bit has snuck up in behind Alexi B on the B bomb side, and Na'Vi is gonna easily take down this round because of this huge gap in the G2 defense. It is crunch time in Na'Vi versus G2. This is round 33, and yet again Alexi B is going to be finding an opening kill in this round for G2. Not only that, they are actually gonna make it even better and double up with Monsi getting a kill in connector off of his AWP. But now instead of falling back into the B bomb side, Alexi B is gonna stay static. He's gonna stick around in the same position he was just in, and he's gonna be taken down by Simple. In the meantime, Perfecto is gonna find a gap in the G2 defense, finding 2 guys running with knives out, takes down one and later takes down the second. In the end, this is a Na'Vi round, and at a very important time in this match. Too static for Alexi B and a gap found through the heart of the map. The same mistakes keep haunting G2. Another match, another opponent and another gap found. This is Heroic versus G2. Now, Jax being the mid player but also the guy smoking gap, he is late for the mid peak, and Stavn, probably knowing this off of anti-strat, is immediately taking a timing through the heart of the map. In this round, Alexi B is omnipresent and suspects that Stavn could have found a timing gap here. Stavn does do a little bit of damage, Alexi B returns of course, but Stavn does get away without losing his life. A few rounds later and another gap is found. This is a 5 versus 4 situation for G2 on their T side. TaZeS with just an upgraded pistol, sort of reminiscent of Art, actually finds a gap here on the CT side. These rounds are must wins when you are the T side. If you are able to actually safely win these anti-force rounds as T, you are crippling the CT economy and you're putting yourself in a prime position to potentially completely take over the map. G2 are pushing into B and Jax gets taken down by Shush, but a fast trade comes in from Hunter. Now the overlooked player in TaZeS comes in and has actually a lot of impact, potentially could have had way more. He sees a back turn for Monsey, takes him down and unfortunately does not get the second kill onto Alexi B. But this turns into a 3-on-2 situation for the CTs and it's at this point very winnable. With the superior utility from G2, they are able to lock out 2 heroic players from the B-bomb side, and when Hunter takes down Refresh, the round is pretty much sealed. But this flank coming in from TaZeS could have had massive impact and could have completely changed the course of this entire match. This is the last round I will be showing you today. It is G2 against some upgraded pistols yet again, and again a must-win round for G2. It starts out great with Monsey taking down Stavn, but then he gets traded onto by Cadian. It seems that these are the 2 main issues for the G2 side. Their inability to cleanly win against upgraded pistols and oftentimes actually losing against upgraded pistols, and the way they handle man advantage situations. In this round, yet again, there is an upgraded pistol completely overlooked. This time, I have to say though, very great baiting by Shush, who sets up Refresh for a couple of easy kills. The problem is not so much losing to upgraded pistols. These things can happen. It's just how often it happens and also the way that it happens. It's almost always a gap that is left somewhere in the defense, either on T or CT side, and I see this way more from G2 than I see from any other team. It seems like adding a little bit more structure would do G2 a whole lot of good. I have been NaToSaphiX for Play.gg. Thank you so much for watching the video.